We've sunk an enemy destroyer.
Hey team, this is Ripper here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Got a great video talking about the strategy that we're facing these days in clan battles, about Napoli and super maybe pushes by one particular ship or cruiser. But before we get in, let's like and subscribe button below if you want to support the channel. Can't thank you guys enough. At 2,000 subs, we're going to give away free premium DD giveaway. We can't thank you guys enough and appreciate all the support. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about the strategy that we're talking about today is the Napoli push. And I've been seeing a lot of teams do it, and there are different mentalities about it. I actually do like doing it once in a while just for fun, for memes. But I think the biggest thing is how can we actually use it correctly and actually how to counter it. So I think on the majority side, let's talk about most people are probably going to encounter this. So how do we actually play against it and defend it? So what people have been doing lately is picking about 4 or 5 Napolis, as you can see right here is the red team, and 1 battleship and maybe 1 destroyer. I have seen people, we've actually done this where we picked all 7 ships or Napolis, or maybe 6 or Napolis. But right now, I think that what we're seeing is majority of the combinations is 4 or 5. So I'll actually do 2 videos showing that. This is the first one. So the makeup of normally how we would play clan battles for 7 versus 7 is 1 or 2 destroyers, 4 cruisers, most preferably radar cruisers, and then 1 battleship. So what is the strategy right here? So let's take a look at what me as a team leader would do. As for the strategy, is I would send 3, maybe 4, at least probably 4 to be contending. Maybe the battleship will go a little bit towards the center here to provide support, while the other 2 cruisers, oops, let's not move that one. We're going to move the 2 cruisers over here with the destroyer, and they'll contest, maybe even capture Charlie, because what the plan is, now I'm always anticipating what is the enemy team going to do. Now, most of the time I'm thinking the enemy team, now knowing what the enemy team is made up of, I'm going to guess they're going to utilize their strength of 4 Napolis, and they're actually going to move together, either 1 Cap B Bravo, which is a given. They'll either go up the channel and use their, superior secondaries or whatnot, concealment of smoke, to actually utilize that massive push, or they're actually split their force and go up the right flank and try to capture Bravo and Alpha. That's my thought, is if I was them, what would I do? And then, of course, maybe they would only send maybe a minor force to Charlie, but then again, we overwhelm them that way. The other option is they actually overwhelm Charlie with all their cruisers, and that's okay, because now they have so many islands to deal with that they can't get their secondaries to bear. Remember, a couple of things about the Napoli is the Napoli's secondaries are only good out to 11, and although they're really accurate, they do require you to provide, expose your ship to a lot of fire. And unless all 4 of them are literally moving in perfect unison together, they need 1 destroyer out there spotting for them, because most of the time I've seen Napoli players use their crawling smoke, which actually conceals their ship for about 45 seconds to a minute, something roughly around there. And that exposes them to being shot at if they get radared, nobody's spotting for them, they're stuck in their smoke. That crawling smoke, his weakness is if no one's spotting for you, you're moving smoke and you can't see outside of it, as opposed to if you actually have a radar cruiser out here that the enemy cruiser can spot you, then they're going to start shooting at you. So that's the one downside. So I'm going to anticipate they're probably going to do this massive push right here. So how would I counter that? So I sent the bulk of my force to Charlie to contest and defend. And then for the other half of me, I am going to, as a destroyer player, because I'm always a destroyer player, this one is a Gdansk, I'm using that. And then, of course, the other cruisers are going to help support me after I capture Alpha. And then we're going to basically do what I like to call just defending screen. So I would have 1 cruiser just hold here, 1 cruiser reverse and come back around here. And, of course, I'm just running more spotting ability by doing figure 8s roughly around the northern side of Alpha. So that is the plan right there, because we would have 2 caps basically, and we're going to see where they go, because I'm always reacting to a Napoli push, because why? They're trying to use their greatest asset right there to their advantage, which is a push. A Napoli's kind of worthless sitting in the back, right? So they're going to push. The question is where? Are they going to push to the west or to the north? So let's take a look at the battle in a minute here, how they're actually going to employ this. Now, here's the other Achilles heel of the Napoli is, because you have to push, if you eliminate this destroyer right here, let's say like me and the destroyer, which I'm anticipating, let me move this out of the way. If this destroyer player actually moves up the advance to the north or northwest here, I'm going to hopefully engage it, because I'm a Gdansk, and I think it's overpowered, honestly, with the radar smoke and massive guns and speed and the massive health pool. So I have an advantage, I think, against whatever destroyer. And again, a good destroyer player will always look at the matchup and lineup and see what am I going against. This one, I think I'm going against a Harigumo, which Although he has very superior guns, he doesn't have radar, and I can smoke up radar. My guns are just as strong as his, I believe, and we can go probably one-on-one and duke it out. But we'll take a look at it. But if you can eliminate, and with support of your 2 cruisers back here, that's why it's always important to support your teammates, you can have supporting fire going in all 3 directions in this way and eliminate a destroyer player here or eliminate a destroyer player that pushes in this way. So you have all 3 or all 2 sectors covered here. I'm not really worried about the middle. Most players don't push in the middle because that's kind of risky and dangerous. And if the destroyer player went up here, none of these ships have any kind of spotting. So again, I know their weaknesses is they have to basically do a northwest push right here. Now, once the enemy destroyer is eliminated, and I'll show you right here, now that we have a destroyer eliminated, these cruisers that are going to be pushing through, I mean, I'm assuming if they do this, if they start pushing in a conga line or a Lemming train push, here's the problem you face with the Napoli. They can't obviously all go through the channel at once, so they're going to go one by one. So look what happens. You have now supporting fields of fire. I think they call it, overlapping fields of fire in the military. The military, we always say that, hey, maximize everybody's ability to use your guns to bear and put on the enemy. Because look, if I'm over here shooting from smoke, I have a radar cruiser over here shooting and spotting. I have another cruiser here, and we have our battleship and support who can switch the guns and fire. You basically have a choke point right there. That's one. Now, the other problem is, let's say that the cruiser players actually, well, let's say put one there, and they split up. And let's say they go to the west here. Now, here's what they did. They just divided up the bulk of their force, which is also an Achilles heel for them. The battleship is obviously slow, so it's always in the back. So their guns are pretty slow reloading and can't get to bear. So they're going to try to stay together with the cruiser players. And look, they still run into the same problem because now, although they have double fields of fire here, they're going single file line because why? It's really difficult in World of Warships. They're not like fighter jets that can stay in formation. They're going in kind of a conga line, Lemming train kind of push because it's hard to keep them side by side. You start running into each other. You can't maneuver. You're trying to get your guns to bear. You start bumping into each other. So that's a problem I've noticed amongst players. And again, this is just me observing through thousands of games of how players react and utilize their ships. And let's face it, not majority of people playing this game are in the military. A lot of these people are just having fun. In the military, we're training all the time how to maintain formation, discipline, fire control, integrity, so forth. And that's something that has really helped me and understand the ability to utilize and put people where they need to be. And as you can see right here, if you even have this single conga line, you just basically focus fire one guy at a time. Boom, he's eliminated. Next guy moves up. Boom, he's eliminated one at a time. Now, these guys are probably going to try to shoot these guys, but again, they only got one set of guns, so the set of guns can only fire and then reload, as opposed to 3 sets of guns shooting on one. Again, unless these guys can all coordinate and move together and eliminate one guy at a time, then that's the problem. Now, me as a destroyer player, again, this is tips for you, those that want to be a good destroyer player, because you are the leader, honestly. The destroyer player is going to lead by example. I'm going to have to basically move my destroyer to stay alive at all times, to maneuver, to continuously keep these guys spotted. I also have radar, so I'm going to help assist with radar. I have torpedoes, so I'm also sending torpedoes in this direction, as well as also keeping my other ships in the back here supported by always keeping a barrier right here. I'm always going back and forth, slowing this advance down. You'll notice that, and I'm sorry to say, the destroyer player is the key to winning the game. The destroyer player has the best reload rate of most of the ships in the game, as opposed to like a Colbert or Smolensk, but a destroyer player that's a gunboat, artillery supporting ship like a Gdansk or Ragnar and maybe a Sherman, those guys are machine guns that can really hold an advance down because people are afraid of getting burned. People are afraid of getting torped. And it gives your team enough time to maneuver back into position. Once they cap Charlie here, you're going to see my ships are going to start pressing down, and they're going to cap Charlie and Bravo. Now, here's the problem with this advanced push. They leave Bravo open. It allows my other 2 teammates to come in from behind, get Bravo and Charlie. Now we have 2 cap advantage, and if we keep the Alpha as well, we have 3 caps, and then the score will continue to go up for us. We don't have to eliminate the entire team. How to win a game is also, people forget, you can win by points. So let's see how this match actually turns out and how we employ our plan. Remember, the push is to Charlie, and then maybe hopefully go to Bravo, but the ability to hold the advance at Alpha. That's where the battle's going to be. So let's take a look at it. All right, team, we're back here. So let's take a look at it. Here's the lineup right there. GK, Petro, 4 Napolis, and their Haragumo, just like we had talked about in the debrief. And let's see actually how the plan works out. So you see, as our team is actually pushing majority to Charlie, while we got 2 cruisers and me as a destroyer player moving to Alpha. And as you can see, really, it's a very simple idea is let's stop them at alpha. Let's just cap a free cap at alpha. Charlie is a variable, a guess. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if we can cap it. It'll be a bonus if we do. If not, we're going to hold them there. And then we're going to see where the actual bulk of their push is. If they actually push to Charlie, then that means that they're probably going to do a bulk advance there, and then we're going to come back and have our team regroup and go to Alpha Bravo, or just hold them at Charlie and wait for the rest of our team to take on Charlie as well. And that allows us to kind of just figure out, well, where's the best push going to take place at. Now, like I said, I think the majority of the time, the Napolis are going to push together because that's their strength. They're going to just try to utilize their numbers, the number of secondaries they have, their smoke, and so forth. And if you haven't tried it out, I would encourage you to try it. Like, actually get the Napoli, and actually, I think it's in the armory now. And really, with the new commander buff, you can actually have the secondaries go up to 11 kilometers. It's got the crawling smoke, which means the smoke follows you and allows you to stay in concealment while firing your secondaries out to 11, and they're super accurate. So it's really deadly for these SAP secondary shells. SAP does amazing damage to ships, and you just got to get them, and especially since they arc really well at long distance, they pummel right into your hard deck or the superstructure, so you're getting the majority of your damage that way. So, and as a destroyer player, they are very, very deadly, and you don't want to be a destroyer player caught in the open against a Napoli. So we're looking at the map right here. Take a look at the mini map right there, bottom right. You can see they're being spotted right now. Another bad thing is they're getting spotted way off in the distance, or they get radared. So now we know where they're at, and they're kind of slow. They're not like super fast maneuverable ships. I mean, you're talking about these are ships in World War II here. They're not fighter jets or anything. So now that we see where they're at, a Charlie team up there, you can see the Northeast, has time to react. They cap it for free, and now we know where they're going to be at, because, again, their Achilles heel was they stay together. They're going to move slow together. They're only as fast as their slowest man, and they're going to move together and stay together, and that allows us to regroup, reassess, and maneuver. So I'm going to send some torpedoes down the channel here because I think they're going to go to the channel. Now, you got to keep in mind there is a destroyer out here somewhere, because he's probably radar locating me, or I assume, and also he's probably spotting for them because we're getting spotted way out in the distance out here, and I'm curious, where is this Hiragumo? Did he go down the middle, which is probably most unlikely since we have our Summers in the middle there. He would have been spotted, or we have another cruiser out there, so he probably wouldn't risk it there. So I'm assuming he's probably going to be to the northwest or west of his buddies spotting for us. So let's take a look. I mean, I'm going to be very conservative. I'm worried about torpedoes. So there he is, Hiragumo. So spotted. Now we know where the Hiragumo's out. We know where the bulk of their fleet is at. We understand the strategy, which is basically to hold. Let's get a couple shots off of Hiragumo. Now, to be a good destroyer player, one of your roles is to eliminate the destroyer player. So, guess what? I know a Hiragumo doesn't have any heals, so any damage I do now will pay off in dividends in the long run, in the long game, because remember, he can't get that health back. Once he loses it, it's gone. And that way allows me to have an advantage later down the road. And again, maintain survivability is your role as a destroyer player. You have to be the one that survives the match, because you are the one that literally is leading from the front and doing everything at the end of the game. Spotting, capping, shooting, killing, torpedoing, smoking, everything. So I always say that you want to be a better player, survive the game, utilize and pick your battles, choose them wisely, and then survive the long haul for the game. And look at those secondaries. Now, see, a lot of you guys probably don't see, maybe from my perspective as a destroyer player, the onslaught of what the Napolis can do, and they're very, very scary and deadly. If you allow all those Napoli shells to impact your ship, you're going to lose a lot of health that you can't get back, especially if you're a destroyer player that does not have heals. So you want to really try to survive and get away from them as Napolis as fast as you can. And again, they're 11 kilometers, so it's really difficult to get out of the way because they are kind of stealthy. I mean, your concealment in Napoli is under 11. So if you build it for stealth, I mean, you literally have the secondaries automatically boom right in his range if you get spotted, or if he gets spotted. So let's see here. Napoli, look, I'm spotting him he's at 10.2, but look, his secondaries go out to 11, which means his secondaries are probably firing at me, and that's a bad thing. Now, Hiragumo's down to half health right here. I've only got 20,000. I don't think I can win a gun battle against him. His secondaries are shooting way faster than me. So we're going to go ahead and smoke up and then radar and use our ship's advantage. Again, I have to use everything I have to my bear. Look, I'm taking way too much damage. All the other ships are shooting at me because why? I'm the deadliest player on the team because I'm a destroyer Gdansk. So guess what? Smoke up, radar. He can't see me. He can't shoot, and that's how we eliminate that threat. Let's take a look at it. Do we get him out of right here? And yep, there he goes. Boom, splash one. He goes down. They lose their eyes and ears, and they're now blind. And the Napolis are, look, here's a weakness of the Napoli. If they smoke up, they have nobody's spot for them besides the firing plume that most ships have. So if you don't shoot, and the Napoli's in smoke, They can't see it because they're inside. They're stuck inside their cloud of smoke. Here's my problem right here. What I just tell you, I have to survive the onslaught. I only got 1,800 health left. Then I have to slow down right there. So I cannot fire right now, which is bad for me because I'm one of the fastest gunboats in the game, and I've got a lot of firepower that I want to use, but I can't use it because I have no concealment whatsoever. If I expose myself, again, remember what I say, choose your battles wisely. If I expose myself, guess what? I'm lighting up a crispy. I don't understand how that had to happen right there. You see that, guys? A secondary shell literally left the being fired to the Puerto Rico, went right through me. I don't understand how that shot totally happened. That was a whack-off RNG shot. I think there's something wrong with the game. I'm noticing players are hitting me even though I'm undetected, moving around, and it really seems like they're cheating here, but I don't want to say anything like that, but Wargaming, take a look at that. Anyways, what am I doing right here? I'm waiting to pick my battles. My smoke is on cooldown 130. I cannot shoot because as soon as I shoot, I'm going to light up like a Christmas tree. That means, hey, everybody shoot the guy that's in the destroyer. Because why? Eliminate destroyers is your #1 priority, and that's me. So right now I'm calling out shots. I'm spotting. Hey, I'm helping my team get focused because in the heat of battle, a lot of times a lot of players are too tunnel vision. They channel their focus on one thing. They forget about maneuvering their ships. They forget about torpedoes. They forget about getting shot at. I mean, there. So you get singled out, you're going to die. And you know, there's an example right there. If you're getting by yourself and you're getting singled out, then that's a bad thing. That means we got to work by looking at the mini map, reassessing and maneuvering your ship as well. I mean, the World of Warships is fun shooting, but you also got to remember you got to maneuver as well. You can't just sit there and get shot at by yourself and get pummeled. No matter what ship you're in, if you get focus fired on, you're going to die. Knowing that strategy, let's utilize that tactic to shoot against the enemy. So, as I'm seeing here, great job. The Summers took on the Napoli down south. That eliminates that threat down there. We're good. Now that they split the bulk of their force up, they only got 3 Napolis over here. We're going to go ahead and help our teammate. This is a bad position I'm in right now. I'm like in front of a guy getting shot at, and I'm probably going to get hit from random shots from RNG. Thank goodness I didn't get hit right there. So our smoke is almost on cooldown, so we're trying to focus fire. I'm calling out shots. Hey, let's focus on the Napoli that's almost dead right there. We're about to lose our other Stalingrad, so let's see if we can eliminate this other Napoli. Boom, he goes down. Great shot from the Stalingrad, and we lose our Stalingrad as well. That's a good trade, though, because now there are 3 ships in Alpha, and they're all together, which means we can focus fire because they're in a kind of a Lemming train. Lemming train means they got one guy in front, next guy behind, and so forth. Now that I got my smoke back, look at the firepower that the Gdansk can do. This is why the Gdansk is, in my personal opinion, just under overpowered, and you're in smoke, you got radar, you have these 4 amazing guns that can just shoot non-stop. They have a great reload, 2.3 second reload, and also they start fires like a matchstick. So this is why you don't want to mess with the Gdansk in smoke. And at range, too, you can look at my range. I can reach out and touch someone at 14.5, well out of secondary range, and there's nothing that the Napoli can do. There's nobody spotting. If he goes into smoke, he won't be able to see anybody. Look, he just went into smoke. He can't see majority of the players because why? I mean, there's nobody spotting for him unless there's a plume from a battleship that goes out that range. But honestly, look, he's stuck. His secondaries can't fire. He can't shoot. He can't see anybody. He's stuck in smoke. And unless this is, I don't think this is the Napoli that shot smoke, is it? It could be the same one. I was wrong. I don't know. But anyways, I don't know if his smoke is gone. But look, he's just getting shot at, getting starter fires. Here's the downside of the Napoli. Very slow. It's got to expose a lot of broadside. The secondaries only reach out to 11, so your gimmick is pretty much useless at this point. And if you're just sitting there stuck, you're just going to expose broadside, get shot at, or get burned down right here. We're eliminating a lot of his structures, and he's exposing broadside. He goes down. Nevsky, great shot right there, and then we have only 2 ships left. So you can see how that kind of strategy played out right there where, hey, look, we won the game by points because we had all 3 caps. You see, the majority of their time they were pushing, and the bulk of their force was together. Focus fire, they couldn't cap, and again, they lost by points. So let's take a look at the next game, and I'll show you another Napoli push, this time with 5. Hey team, this is Ripper again here with another, so this is another map that we have. The same map again, this time we're reverse flipped, and this time they have 5 Napolis with a Schlieffen and a Destroyer player, so a little bit of compilation, but this time it's 5 Napolis and they're pushing. And we got the complement. I'm out on a Ragnar, which means I don't have torpedoes, no smoke, and it's really just an artillery gunboat. And again, what is the strategy right here? Now, in this one, I actually elect to not actually do a balanced force, but this time I'm actually moving to Bravo. I send my other destroyer to Charlie to cap, as well as the bulk of my force, 2 cruisers, a battleship, actually 3 cruisers and a battleship, to move to Charlie. So the advance looks something like this, while the other cruiser moves here. And this was a merc, so I don't think we were on comms to communicate, but he decided to push in closer to the island, which I thought was a bad idea, because, I mean, if you get overwhelmed, you're by yourself. And as a destroyer player, the idea is to do the what I was calling is a more of a defensive role. So I'm just really just pushing to hold right here, and we're just holding Bravo. Again, this is kind of what my thought was. We're just going to sit here, cap Bravo, and hold and see what they do, because what I'm thinking as an enemy team, I'm going to use my strengths, right? So I'm going to use all my my cruisers and Napolis together to push together, and something that looks something maybe like that. And I'm thinking that's what they're probably going to do, is do a sweep and push to Bravo, because they're going to utilize their crawling smoke at secondaries and firepower. Now, the cool thing about me on the other end is we have the ability to maneuver. So if we cap Charlie, now this is a big if, we're going to hold Charlie and then see where, and just kind of advance slowly this direction. Once they've gone, move this way. Now, the cool thing about capping Charlie from here with the bulk of my forces here, they can cover Charlie from this direction, but if we have a massive push, they can quickly maneuver and swing back down south and then focus fire into Bravo and Alpha, because that's exactly why I said the cool thing about, having superior firepower and focusing firepower is you have to figure out where to channel your firepower in certain directions to maximize your guns and minimize the casualties that you inflict as well. Because what's going to happen is, you're going to see right here, is the enemy team is probably going to, again, utilize their assets by maneuvering their ships together in a line, because they can't move 5 ships a line abreast into this narrow channel. I mean, militaries have taught this, and through history of time, is that you're going to have to go single file down an island. Now, they have a Schlieffen here and 5 Napolis, which means they're going to focus on secondaries, which means they got to get into secondary range, which means they have to expose their ship. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to maneuver either down one of these channels here, and they're going to be single file, either down this line or this line, but either way, if they're single file, you're now going to take the bulk of your firepower, and you're going to literally maximize that by shooting into, when you have your ships come back, of course, you're going to see where they're at, because you're going to spot them a mile away, and you're going to focus fire into the channel, there, or if they come very far south, all of our team is now focused coming back the other direction, which means that they can sweep in and shoot them right here. So again, it doesn't matter where they go. The Napoli, again, it's just about playing defensive against the Napoli. Just wait where they at, because they're slow moving. They're not fast. They're going to move together. They're going to have crawling smoke, which means you're going to spot them a mile away if they use it. So really, it's all about, hey, you're going to figure out where you're going to position your forces to react to this massive push. So this on the other side, you can see that the strategy is that, hey, contest Charlie at least, because if let's say they do push Charlie. If they did push Charlie, let me actually move so you can see it. Let's say they actually did the other thing. Let's say they did the bulk of their push this way, and they decided to all push Charlie heavily. Well, here's the thing. If they do, which I think they're going to do, is push Charlie, now you have a contesting. They're going to get stuck and caught up along this route right here, which means it's going to slow their advance. They're going to probably stop here, and then stop here, and try to get their secondaries to bear, and then they'll run away that way or that way, and it doesn't help them, as opposed to that we're going to maneuver our ships so that we can counter them by maneuvering here, and then you have people that can elect to, let me delete this arrow so you can see better. You can see that by maneuvering your ships in the way they are, it counters that push by having 5 to, again, you have a Lemming train that can now be shot at one at a time, all while, if nobody's here at Alpha, and the destroyer, I'm assuming, is going to spot for them, we have now a cruiser that can radar and then also maneuver our destroyer as well to go sneak behind their flank, and then we can go cap, we can go cap Alpha. So let me put that back so you can see it. So we can actually take our destroyer player, and I maneuver somewhere around here and take Alpha from the rear and also spot the rest of their force. So again, it's all about figuring out where is their weakness going to be at. They're going to push a direction together. So how can I minimize that damage and also play a little more standoff and also have the ability to recall my forces back and react in time. So let's take a look at this map and see how it actually turns out. Okay, so here we are. So now that we've capped Bravo, the bulk of my team is going to Charlie, and now we've spotted, thank you for the Stalingrad there to radar. Now, that's the other downside about everything. If you have one less destroyer, you're not able to spot, as the enemy team has noticed. And also that radar reveals the entire position of the enemy team. which now the jig is up. We actually know where they're going. So guess what I thought was right? They're going to actually, again, utilize their asset, their strength, which is moving together in unison, which is not a bad technique unless you have enough destroyer players to spot for you and you can actually move together in perfect unison to get your all guns to bear. Now notice, look, he has to nose in through the channel by himself and he's on fire, and he can't get his secondaries to bear on me because he's nose in. He hasn't targeted me yet, and then the rest of his team is in the back. Now he's smoked up right there, which means now he's going to conceal everybody in that channel, but the cool thing is he can't spot me as well because there's nobody out in front to spot for him. That's a downside of being in crawling smoke. Now the downside is for the Stalingrad, he ran out of radar. Now he can't spot the Napoli inside the smoke, and there's nobody hydroing. He doesn't have hydro, and he already utilizes radar. I don't have a long enough range radar to help him out, so he's pretty much kind of screwed there in this Stalingrad. Now, that was a Merc player. Unfortunately, we weren't on comms, so we really couldn't talk to him, but guess what? He's at least proximity spotting the other Napoli, so we're going to go ahead and help him and shoot as much as we can and fire and start as much damage and start as many fires as we can. Hopefully the Napoli can actually get a nice juicy broadside and eliminate this guy before he goes down. But look at that, the secondaries, if they're too close, they're actually shooting into the side of the armor of the Stalingrad, and they're not really doing much damage. So that's a downside of the secondaries. They're too close range, they actually just can't penetrate that steel armor right there. Way to go, Stalingrad takes out one Napoli, and now what we have is the rest of the force moving through, and now they're going to get singled out one by one, and the Stalingrad is about to go down, but then he took down somebody with him. The secondaries are now focused on us. Now look at the damage from this. The other receiving end, and you actually to take a look at this. Look at the secondaries shooting on you. There's so many of them, and if they hit you, they hurt a lot. Look at my health pool. It's melting super fast. We cannot sit around and engage like this. We're going to have to run away and angle away, and we're going to just see if we can start as many fires as we can. Look at, I'm calling out shots. I'm saying, hey, everybody eliminate the lowest health pool Napoli in front. He gets eliminated again by the Puerto Rico, and again, their advance is slowly dying as well. We only lost a Stalingrad. They lost two Napolis, and now it's just basically singling out one guy at a time. And see, this is the kind of the downside of the push of a Lemming train, because now look at the mini map. We have four guys line abreast shooting one guy at a time, and they have a destroyer out in the flanks, really being annoying. Again, what is your role as a destroyer player? Be the most annoying guy on the team and distract. You notice that we distract one Napoli player, exposing his broadside. He gets whacked by the Puerto Rico right there, and now his other buddies, now that they've lost half their force right there, they're kind of going, oh crap, we got to halt here, we can't push anymore. We're gonna see, and we have to cap this Charlie cap right here, and we can't do much other than stop. So now that they've stopped, they're kind of just sitting ducks at this point, and now we're just picking them off one by one. The Schlieffen here, he's trying to get his secondaries to bear, but he can't. And look at the power of the Ragnar right here. The Ragnar is great at starting fires. Booster guns on a little destroyer is pretty powerful. And pretty much we're going to just destroy all his modules right there. And the majority of their team is gone. They lost the destroyer. There's no more spotting for them. He is stuck and hit on his buddy right there. And we're just going to sit here and pummel him with 152 millimeter guns that penetrate a very great deal, 30 millimeters, I believe. And we're just going to just melt this Schlieffen right. He can't do nothing but run away. His secondaries are kind of useless at this point. Yeah, they'll fire one or two shots. You notice the bulk of them are not shooting because he's trying to focus fire on other guys. Again, be the most destroying player on the team. Damage as many modules as you can. See if you can start fires, and look at that. We're just going to pick him off, and all he can do is retreat while his other Napoli player is stuck in smoke. Now look at that. Napoli's stuck in smoke. Here's the downside. Nobody's spotting for him. No, he can't see anything. He can't shoot. He can't use anything other than torpedoes and maybe his guns if he blind fires. And that's the kind of the downside of the Napoli push. Sometimes if you just kind of play more defensive and standoffish, it's very difficult to push without destroyer players out in front spotting for you and distracting. Again, why are destroyer players so good and so well in the game? Because you distract a majority of the gunfire, and that's why it's so powerful that you become a very good destroyer player. You go out there, you lead by the team, you lead in force, you become distracting, you draw all the fire from the enemy team so that your friendly forces can shoot at ease and have an enjoyable day playing World of Warships without getting shot at and dying. So that's how we kind of defended that Napoli push right there. You can see it's not as scary as you think. It looks on paper that it'd be scary, but unfortunately in application, unless you are perfectly moving in unison with the short players out front spotting for you, it is very difficult to implement. And again, those guns, although they do pack somewhat of a punch, it's kind of they're kind of useless at certain distances. I mean, the sap secondaries you saw, they cannot really destroy ships at that close range because the angles don't allow it, because they remember the bread and butter of the Napoli sap shells, they have to penetrate 30 mil something, I think 30 millimeters, look that up for me, but that means that has to shoot the superstructure and down. That means they have to be plummeting, as opposed to they can't be shooting head on right into like Puerto Rico's or Sevastopols or Stalingrad armors that are thickly armored, especially the Soviet ships, which majority players pick. They're thickly armored, and then they cannot shoot at those angles. They got to basically plummet fire. As you can see right here, the shells are coming over an arc at a distance to me, and they're eliminating me pretty well because I'm a destroyer player, but as well as superstructure. All we can do right now is just shoot the superstructure and kill him, and he takes us out, and not until we win the game. But that is how we take on the Napoli pushes. Let me know what you think about in the comments below. What other kind of pushes are you guys seeing out there? Are you guys doing all Stalingrads, all Moskvas? This is fun time with clan battles, no restrictions, but it's really fun to test and implement strategies that are really, really interesting to see, as well as fun to pick apart, defend, debrief. And I hope these debriefing videos help you out. But if you like what we're doing here, like, subscribe, and support the channel. Again, appreciate all the support. At 2,000 subs, we're giving away a free premium DD giveaway, and can't wait to do that. So here's the build at the end of the screen. Hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe out there, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys, and I will see you guys out there on the high seas. Cheers.